How often have you heard of mass shootings? Does this topic still surprise you? Mass shootings have been on a rise in recent memory, largely due to the fact that we have limited gun restrictions here in America. Mass shootings typically occur in large spaces where people are defenseless, such as churches and schools. Major sources such as NBC News, CNN, and New York Times would agree with my statement. I believe with strict gun restrictions, there would not be such an abundance of mass shootings. So, gun restrictions will lower the number of mass shootings. With government action, mass shootings could be limited. As stated by CNN, 58% of Americans say that government can take action that would be effective in preventing mass shootings. According to another CNN poll that was conducted by SSR, just over half of the public, which was 54%, say that they believe stricter gun control laws will reduce the number of gun-related deaths in the country. So establishing gun restrictions will allow the government to authorize who is able to own a firearm. So there's different steps of how the government could restrict who owns a firearm. You could obviously do a background check, make sure that someone is not a convicted felon or has a criminal history. If they are a convicted felon or they have, let's say, anger issues or something like that, then they are obviously eliminated from the equation and they should not be able to own a firearm. We could do more background checks. We could see if someone's mentally stable enough to own a firearm. We could also do gun controls, gun safety courses to ensure that people know how to handle their firearm and safety procedures and steps to take in order to keep themselves and others safe. And if they fail any of these steps, they should be able to reapply and restart their process between 6 months to a year from their original application date. So based on these tolls, do you believe that Americans will feel safer? The simple answer is yes, Americans will feel safer with stricter gun laws. So a great majority of mass shootings occur in public schools and churches. So I believe that schools should provide their administrative teachers and faculty staff, they should give them training on how to use a firearm if necessary. Well, but the teacher obviously willing to want to do this themselves. So with this, it will limit the amount of mass shootings that occur in schools. So NBC News states that teachers should be encouraged with proper training to carry a weapon in order to deter or foil potential mass shootings. So allowing teachers to carry a firearm is beneficial because not only does it limit mass shootings, it obviously saves lives, and it will put themselves and students, I wouldn't necessarily say risk-free, but they would definitely limit the amount of mass shooting that will occur in public schools. So however, currently Florida is the only state that will allow their principals to designate certain staff or volunteers to carry a firearm. In order to have this movement keep going, we need more than one state to jump on the boat. So we need 49 more states to also be willing to pass laws to allow teachers to be able to train and therefore operate a firearm and have it in a classroom just in case something ever happens and they could stop it or prevent mass shootings. So in conclusion, firearm training is to be heavily stressed upon. It should require seriously background checkings, and guns should not be easily available to anyone. So background checks would be a major help. As stated in NBC News, we need to correct failures in the National Instant Criminal Background Check System. So again, background checks will be beneficial because it allows the government to figure out who exactly they're giving a weapon to. The government will be able to um, restrict these people based on their qualifications and therefore they will reduce the amount of guns that are on the streets, and they will also be able to kind of see and limit who purchases a gun illegally. So a bill that was proposed but unfortunately it wasn't passed was the no fly, no buy rule, which will restrict firearm sales to people at a terror watch list while giving the ability to appeal. People who may be a possible threat to themselves or others should not be easily able to get a gun. And however, this law passed, which is really suspicious. And for some reason, this law still allows people that have a have a history of terror attacks, allows them to continue purchasing guns even though they can't fly on the airplanes. This should not be happening because not only can they hurt more people, but this just shows as a country where we stand, allowing people that have criminal records and people that are mentally unstable, allowing them to walk around with, allowing them to be able to purchase a weapon still after all this, even though they can't even fly in the airplane. That's ridiculous. So qualifying to purchase a gun should be limited and very difficult. With gun restrictions, there will be a lower amount of mass shootings and deaths that will happen yearly with guns since they are so easily available right now. Guns are amounts of mass shootings or gun killings, gun shootings in general are at an all-time high. So, with this, we need to strictly enforce gun restrictions. Therefore, we could keep ourselves and many other generations safe from killing each other with guns.